Hello and welcome to my little corner of the woods. I can't talk today, but that's fine. Happens to the best of us. It is actually on time today. We got here. We did this. Woo! Time for a celebration. Another celebration because I have a new mic and so I don't sound awful, hopefully. We're gonna find out together. Yikes. All right, we're back at it again with our Aboleth friend. I'm not even sure if you can see him. Let's find out. Yep, you totally can. Beautiful. Okay. So, off stream, I have gone ahead and I have worked out a bit of a palette for our colors here. Just because I feel like getting all of this together is kind of boring to watch. It's mostly a lot of dragging and selecting from our reference picture, and nobody wants to watch that. That's about as boring as watching me copy and paste a bunch of Aboleth teeth. So maybe you would have wanted to see that, who knows? But so we've got a lot of muted greens and some peachy colors for the insides of his mouth. And the highlights on this guy are actually yellow, which is pretty interesting. But when sun reflects through water, a lot of it turns yellow. And that's pretty cool. So we've got our basic color palette here, and this is what we're going to be working with on our Aboleth friend. And this is the fun part. This is where we get to play. All of the line work is all just pretty boring and dry and like cut and paste, and it's lines. It's lines. You know what I'm talking about. But all of this is the painting. This is where it gets fun. And this is also where we get into the layers. This is going to be a mess. So I'm going to create a group here, and we're going to call it color. Yes, I spell color with a U. Do not at me. So we're going to back up here, and we're going to look at this guy, and we're going to decide where we're going to start. I think I'm going to just color in his base, and that's where we're going to go from. I like to do that. Some people, they kind of go a little bit piecemeal with it. Oh. Add a layer there. And they like do bits of shadow and bits of base, and they go like they're doing an oil painting. I don't really like to do that personally, even though that is what I was taught to do in art school. I'm not a huge fan of that method, personally speaking. Move the hardness here. The size, pretty big because we don't need it to be little on this. We're just filling in the lines at this point. And all of this is going to be underneath this line work layer. So I'm just going to drag that down, and that's going to be up top. So we're going to pick one of these. Whoa. There we go. Medium greens here. That one. And we're just going to completely fill this in. Oh, yeah, yes, very funny, Drasonic. I see you. And basically, we're just gonna color like a 4-year-old. Not gonna worry about the lines. Completely coloring outside of the lines intentionally, actually, just to make sure there's no in-between spaces that we don't get. Get that all filled in. And I'm not going to go all the way across this fan because those fans are actually different colors. than the base of his body. Just go around that, why not? I've got that in, got that colored. And this is going to be the base color layer. I do a base color, and then I go in with the shadows, and then I go in with the highlights. And I usually do it in that order specifically, just because that's the order that it's kind of the easiest to build it up with. And then you get a good value scale, and it's not too dark or too light most of the time. Right, we've got that blocked in, and now you go in with the eraser and kind of true it up to the lines. Start up by his face. Do not need pressure sensitivity. So, in my announcement for the stream, I promised you guys that I would be talking about new hobbies that I have picked up recently. The first of which I want to talk about is actually not a new hobby. It's an old hobby that I have recently started doing once again, and that is knitting. And I know what you're probably thinking is, woohoo, break those gender norms, Fennec. Good for you being a granny. And I like to be a granny, and a lot of things I sew as well. Just because if it's artistic, I probably do it. But, my boyfriend recently said he wants a new scarf. He likes scarves, and he wants to add to his scarf collection. And I was like, I know how to knit. I'm gonna make you a scarf. Let's do it. And then I realized that all of the yarn that I have is teal, which is not a color that he is especially fond of in wearing for clothing, or pink, which he wouldn't wear. Not for any particular, gender role reason, just because he doesn't like it. And, so that kind of nipped that idea in the bud, up until we can get out and get some new yarn. And then I was like, wait a minute. I like teal and pink. I like teal and pink together. I now have the desire to knit. Let me knit myself a scarf. So I've started doing that. And let me just tell you that if you haven't knit for several years, and all of a sudden you knit 12 rows all at once, sitting there straight for 20 minutes in a row, your finger's gonna hurt. Your finger's gonna hurt bad. Because knitting needles, they're not that sharp, but they're sharp enough that you haven't developed any calluses. And my fingers, they're squishy. I'm a squishy boy. So it's coming out beautifully, and I love the color combination. But, oh boy, does my left index finger smart. Oop, here we go. This is what I was talking about. You see that little dot right here? This little boy right here? This is why we've got our layers marked. Because I'll bet you anything this is on our line work. And we can tell by turning off the lines. Yep, and he disappears. So now I know where to go to disappear him. No more stray dot. And we can go back to erasing all of this extraneous green. Going carefully around the nub. Oop. A little too much. A little too close to the nub. Ever so slightly. In other exciting news, I have a Discord now. A Discord server. Where I can ping people when I have a stream that I'm going to be doing, or when I've got new artwork that I haven't worked on the stream, I've got a gallery section that I can post it into. And that way, if people don't have an Instagram, or if they only use Twitch or what have you, you can join that up. Or if you don't know anyone else and you meet them in the stream, you can go and hang out there. And so we've got that up. And that's exciting, except that I don't know how to moderate anything at all. And it's just me here. Everything's tiny. Once this is a YouTube video, I'm sure I'll be able to link this in the description box of everything, but as far as this being on Twitch, I don't even have like a donations page set up yet. I don't have anything. I'm just a dude sitting on his bed talking to a microphone, hoping to gods that somebody is listening and I'm not just sitting here rambling to myself. So, if anything is wonky in that Discord server, somebody else is probably going to have to tell me. Like today, already one of my friends had to let me know that you guys couldn't see the chat history for my stream announcement channel, and therefore could not see the stream announcement. And so I had to go in and change that already. And it's just, there's going to be little stuff like that constantly with me, just because I'm one 22-year-old guy trying to figure this thing out. I mean, it's only my third stream, though, so guess I'll cut myself a little bit of slack. Just the tiniest little slice of slack. It's pretty exciting, though, to finally be having something moving along in a career that I care about. So you can only work so many fast food jobs in your life before you actually go insane. Especially if you're someone like me who's very creative. Hello, Dead Red. Welcome in. We are chillin' like villains, erasing this extraneous green. And you may be thinking, wow, that's kind of taking a long time, isn't it? No, this is exactly how I do this normally. Just popping around. I color way too much, and then I uncolor. Everything in my drawings is too much back and forth, and no wonder it takes me so long to do them. But the thing is, everything in my life, I do it slowly, but I do it well. So if you ever want something done, but you don't care about the deadline, I'm your guy. If you need something done quickly, you should probably ask somebody else. That's the vibe with me. It's gonna look good. It's gonna look great, but you'll need to give me a week. Cause I'll kill myself for it. Like I'll stay up all night for like 12 days in a row. There was one point in college where I didn't sleep for like 6 straight days so I could finish a painting final. But the thing about that is, you shouldn't do that, because you kind of start to hallucinate after a certain point. Medically speaking, it's not a great time. Probably should not stay up all night too often. Yeah, Fennel Fox Art does not endorse all-nighters for any particular reasons. Do I do them? Yes, but do as I say, not as I do, right? You know, it's the usual thing. Do not smite me, internet. I am not endorsing harmful activities to children. Nobody that's here is a child anyway. Children should not watch me. I normally swear like a sailor. I'm so clean on Twitch. I am actively trying not to say the worst things that come into my head. It is an effort that I expend every day. It's even worse when you have a job in food service. At Starbucks, you try so hard not to swear. I worked at Starbucks before this, and you get the dumb people, and they come in and they ask for their coffee in such pedantic ways. And you just battle with yourself. A whole day long trying not to swear at the people. Sometimes you fail. This is why I'm not cut out for a normal day job. Anyway, after that complete ramble and entire breach of topic, getting back to the hobbies, which is what I was initially trying to talk about. The other one that I wanted to talk about was TFT, that I've been getting really into on League of Legends. It's team fight tactics. And all of my friends play. All of them play League. And I don't get it. I'm not into it. I don't understand it. It makes them so angry. And they just scream and rage, and they're all upset about losing and being bad and whatever. And I'm not into that. I don't like that scene. It's a complicated game. I just don't have the reaction time for that. Team fight tactics, on the other hand, you don't have to know what you're doing at all. You can just completely mess around. Just pick whatever you want to pick. Fluff it all up. And you can still win. And that is my kind of game, my friends. That is my kind of game. So I'm a little bit addicted to that right now. And we've been playing an awful lot. And that's what I was doing right before the stream, actually, is TFT with my friends. A couple of whom are here. A couple of whom are probably still playing TFT, as a matter of fact. Shout out to you guys who are playing TFT right now while watching this stream. If any of you are doing so. This one's going to be a long VOD. I won't shut up. That's normally how I do it, is I just edit out all of the blank space where I'm not talking about anything in particular, because there's a whole lot of that, and I can usually get the stream down to about half the length. But I don't know if I'll be able to do it in this one. Certainly nothing especially interesting is going on screen, but I have something to talk about, which is nice. Promptly runs out of things to talk about. Get in all these little cracks and crevices here. I love the way this came out, and it was completely unplanned. I just kind of scribbled on the side here, and it formed itself. Sometimes that's the best way that drawings happen, though, is they just kind of do what they do. You just put your pencil down onto the paper, and your arm moves itself, and it just does. It exists, and folds itself into a fin. I was initially going to say some sort of profound metaphor, but that became completely literal. And here we are. This foldy little fin. All of the fold. Yeah, and there it goes. These little overlapping bits really added that depth that I needed in all of this. I needed the depth, because otherwise it just looks all flat. We've got one more little section of erasing, and then we can move on to the next bit of color. These thick lines make it a lot easier because then you don't have to be quite so precise in erasing where you've colored in, which is always very nice. Go bigger, turn off pressure, and there we are. And we have a base. Isn't he lovely? Isn't he beautiful? We can't start singing because copyrights are a word I have resolved myself not to say on stream. Mm-hmm. I need a drink. Remind me to edit that out past me. Done. Anyway. Right, so next is going to be this top hat, and I think I'm probably just going to make that a classic sort of black. This one here. This sort of black color going on. Here, yes. Okay. This is just going to be all in here. But as you can see here, it's not quite the same black as the lines. If you look real close, it's a little bit green. Just the tiniest little bit. I did want to do this on another layer, though. Need to remember to do that. Name that one color base. And then when I merge it down, it will have a name. There we go. There we are. Right. Get that in there and erase. Move this around the rim of the hat. And pop this down here. And you can see that tiny little blip of white where I have gone a little bit over. And that's easy enough to correct if you want to just go back in. Come back out here. So what have you guys been up to? You all been having a good day? Hope you've been having a good day. My day started a little bit slower than I wanted it to. I was supposed to wake up at 9:30, and instead, I completely slept past my alarm, and it didn't even wake me up. Which is interesting, because I am not a heavy sleeper. Not even a little bit. Not at all. I don't sleep through anything. Like the tiniest little sound, the tiniest little bit of light in the room, and I'm up. So the fact that my alarm can scream Ariana Grande in my face. Side to side specifically, by the way, if you were curious. And I didn't even... That's alarming to me. That means that I need to get more sleep. The problem with that is that I don't want to. And so we reach our dilemma. And there's my dog downstairs screaming at probably a delivery man, but who knows? Don't know if you could hear that, but with the quality of this mic, it probably did pick up. Right, there's that. And I think we're going to go for a bit of a charcoal kind of color. This sort of color here. It's a gray or green sort of color. Pop in another layer. We can put this one just below it. Get that down there. Yeah, that's lovely. What I'm planning on doing here, I haven't decided if I'm going to do it on stream or off stream, is I'm going to make a pattern of maybe some shells. And I'm going to plant that into this ribbon here and all over the bow tie. That's going to be nice. And so it'll be a patterned fabric. And I think that'll look pretty cool. Yeah, so this and this here are going to be the same color. Just to break things up a little bit, make it interesting. It's not a black tie affair. He's just dapper. Get you down here. Down underneath. Oop, a little too much. There we go. Right. And there is the bow tie. We're going to keep those layers separate, the clothing layers. This is just going to make it much easier. Okay. Great. And then the next layer, I think I'm going to do the mouth. So the base for that is going to be this sort of muted, pinky, peachy, grayish color. This is a grayish beige pink. It's very much like skin toned, which is gross. But, you know, human beings. Flesh. Nasty. And that one's gonna go underneath the rest of the color base. Which will make it easier once it's time to shade it. Right. And then this darker orangey tone is going to be the inside of the mouth. This one's going to be a little more complex to erase around. Really up close and personal in this big guy's mouth here. I apologize for that. Really bumping in there with these teeth. Nasty. Alright. Is that getting in there? Aw. Reckonax. Probably not pronouncing that correctly, but thank you so much for the follow. No idea how to pronounce your name. Get these shreddy boys in here. Once again, with the riveting content, it always happens with the mouth, doesn't it? Every time we get up in here with the dental work, it just slows things right down. You gotta be careful working on teeth. You don't want to mess up anybody's oral hygiene. What am I talking about? Hopefully, at the very least, the audio is much better than it was at the first stream. Some of you may know this and some of you may not, but tomorrow is actually my birthday. It is my 22nd birthday, January 20th. And for my birthday, I got a bunch of equipment to make this stream easier. Because I am chronically ill. I have a lot of back problems. I got a husband pillow, which is like a pillow with a bunch of arms. So it like hugs you. And it helps you sit up. And so I'm currently sitting with that behind me. And it is sincerely one of the best presents I have ever received, honestly. Because it has so much reduced my back pain. But the other thing that I received is a new microphone, which is not attached to a headset. It's a actual microphone with a shock mount. And from what I gather, the audio from it is a whole lot clearer than anything else I've had before. And I don't think my S's are whistling anymore, which would be excellent. I really hope they're not, because trying to edit that in the first stream was yikes. So I can only imagine what it was like trying to listen to it. I'm actually going to go back into the lines here and clean up a few of these blurry, icky bits. Oh, okay. Recon Axe. Gotcha. Thank you for providing that very handy pronunciation guide. I highly appreciate it. Sometimes I look at people's names and honestly, I'm just like, I'm just gonna not. Right. That's much better. Back to this color here. You've got that popped in. Okay. I have to do these teeth. Terabera, thank you so much. Glad to see you back. All right. Yep, I think we're gonna do these teeth next. Get this in here. Got this color here, but I think I'm gonna dirty it up a little bit, get it more into the green side and pop it down into more gray. It's just gonna make it easier to highlight later on. Okay. Get down in here. Really going for that dental hygienist kind of vibe, I guess, today. Of course, the cleaner I get this in here, the less I have to erase, and that will make my life easier. It's just so many teeth. Get them teeths. My lip gets stuck on my teeth. I don't know if any of you have seen that TikTok. It's a dog that keeps getting his lip stuck up on his teeth, and it's just the cutest little thing. But it's a song, and I regularly get it stuck on my head. In my head. Told you I can't talk today. Right. There we go. This little twisted toothy boy. Kind of silly that he's the only tooth that's not the same, but couldn't fit another one, so we did what we had to do. It'll look a little better once it's all shaded, but that's the story of everyone's life, I think. Everything looks a little better with shading. That's why contouring is such a big deal in the makeup world. Yep, still stuck on the dog TikTok. That's a problem. Fennec. You gotta think of something to say. And it can't just be about a dog with his lip stuck on his teeths. Nearly there. All right. And we have them all colored in. Now we do a little bit of erasing. Honestly, they're pretty clean. It's not too bad in there. He must floss. Probably with the bones of those who invade his room in the middle of the night and kick him in the face, but you know, to each their own and all that. Okay, and there's the teeth. Teeth. I need to stop saying that. And it's time to get these good old fins colored in here. Pop in and get that on. And we can do this right on the same layer as the teeth because there's nothing else around these fins that's even close to them on this layer. And that'll just save me from having to keep track of another layer. Because there's already 30 of them. Get this on here. Might as well just go over all of the fins before I do the erasing. Oh, beautiful. I don't have to erase anything on that. These back spines are the same color as these. Just realized this is actually the same color as the yarn that I'm using. So that's fun. Get that in there. I've been doing a lot of fiber crafts recently, actually. I don't know what it is about it, just like sewing and yarn work and things like that. They're difficult crafts, but I find them relatively relaxing most of the time, I think. I had a pattern for a mouse saved to my Google Drive for a while, a sewing pattern for one, and I made the cutest little mouse plushie. Its name is Garnet, and it has garnets for eyes, real garnets, because that's my birthstone. And it's just a little sweetheart. And there's just a sense of pride you get, I think, when you can look at something and be like, yeah, I made that out of nothing. This was squares of cotton 10 minutes ago, and then I glued it or sewed it or whatever you have done, and now it's a thing that has form and shape and is recognizable. There's just something about that that's like drugs straight to the system. Or maybe that's just me. I think there's an element of that to all creation, though. All creators kind of have that drive of just looking at the thing and being like, yeah, I did that. That came from me. Would my mom rather I have that drive for children? Possibly. But, I don't. So, fabric mice it is. Recently got back into hand sewing, actually. I used to do pretty much everything by machine. But, I got a leather thimble, and I started hand sewing. And I sew that mouse, and we've got a lot of stuffed animals at my house, and whenever one of them gets any sort of a rip or a tear in them, I always take great pride in being able to sew it right back up. No problems, and no seam lines. It's just something beautiful about it. Just yesterday, in fact, I finished. I think it was yesterday. It might have been the day before, but either way, I finished a long term commission. 2 years in the making, I want to say. And something about that feels so surreal to me that honestly, it feels like I'm forgetting something. Like, did I leave a character out? Is somebody not shaded correctly? Is there a line somewhere missing? Something about finishing a long-term project like that you never feel done. And it's over. Finally. But I am officially sick of drawing in tree colors. Which is pretty ironic, because this guy is pretty tree colored. And so is most of the other stuff that I have working on right now. So I'm stuck in that rut. I'm alright with it, though. Green is a good color. Even if Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared says it's not creative. What do they know? They're puppets and ripping people's hearts out and covering them in glitter. We don't have to take their word for it. Getting into all these crevices here. On this crunchy leaf fin, as I called it. Getting in close like this is good too, because it shows you all the lines like this right here that need to be erased because you've gone over and you didn't realize. Do that. And that's a good one. Just pop on through, and then we can turn off pressure sensitivity and erase what's left. there's one done. Moving on up. That's a tiny little crevice in there. Still returning once again to hobbies, actually. I did something kind of crazy recently. I am also someone who really enjoys singing. I was in theater for a very long time, all throughout high school, and even in elementary and middle school, I was in theater. And so I like to sing a lot. And I'm pretty decent at it, I like to think. You can't really be a judge of that on your own, and it's hard to trust the family members around you when they say you're good at something. But, so recently I got an ad for open auditions over the internet for The Voice, the TV show, and I was just like, yeah, alright, sure, I'm doing it. Because I've been told several times in my life, people are like, oh, you should audition for that, you're so good. And so I'm like, okay, I will. And I will prove to you that I'm totally not good enough to get in. And let me tell you what, I wasn't. They don't give, like, constructive criticism or anything, so I don't know why, but I wasn't. And I wasn't surprised, but it was just this crazy whirlwind of what the hell am I even doing sort of moment. That it was just a thing that I split-second decision did. And let me tell you, how I know that my antidepressants are working is the fact that I did that. Because any other time in my life, there's no way I would have had the courage to do that. I would have lost my mind. But instead, I signed up to do this the night before at like midnight to audition the next day at 1 p.m. for a international television show. And I just did it nonchalantly. Wasn't even freaking out. I think part of it might have been because my audio quality was terrible, because I just filmed a video of myself singing with my phone. Definitely peaked a couple of times on that audio, and it was atrocious. But also because, like, I'm a dude who's a soprano, and that's weird. And I'm not that good. Like, I'm okay. I'm alright. But it was an experience, and I did it, and I'm proud of myself for that. But it was a crazy thing to do. My boyfriend gets home, and I'm like, hey, I just auditioned for The Voice. And he's like, what? You did what? Like the TV show? And I just laughed. Yep, I did. For the TV show. Yep. Over the internet. Yep. Absolute madness. It's crazy what you can do over the internet at this point in life. Like, just anything. Literally anything. This, right now, I am showing you what I am doing with my day. I'm showing you my workflow. And talking to you. And I don't even know if there's people here. There's 3 people here that I'm talking directly to, and I can't see you. I can't hear you. You're just here. And later on, more people will watch this on the internet, and that's insane. Nobody even blinks an eye at it anymore. There's the nub fins done. Alright. Got lots of little cracks and crevices up in here. And these little fins here. These are the bits that would get really damaged because they're right up just on his back, and so anything you brush up against, it's really going to tear into them. It's really in the sail fins, that's where you get the most mess. Get back down here into this one. This one's a little tricksy here. Got a little bit of it hanging off just a touch. The longer I stare at this sort of teal color, the more pink this gray looks. It's amazing how color theory can mess with your eyesight. Oh, light. Physics is crazy, man. And that's what color is color is physics. Which is insane because people, like, think that art and science and math are all, like, separate, different things, but they're really all the same. It's all a part of each other, as much as people would probably hate to admit it if they ever really thought about it. It is. All music is math. It's just a fact. Time signatures are math. Nobody would be able to do anything with a 13/8 time signature if you couldn't count. Although, to be fair, most people can't do anything with a 13/8 time signature if you can count. Right. There's his last fin. Get a little bit of eye going on in here. It's that one. All right. I think the last thing I'm gonna do for today is gonna be his mustache. We're gonna get that little mustache in there. So we're gonna have to go up and erase his mouth lines that are covering it. Okay. And we'll get this mustache. Get a ball here, and just go ahead and smooth him out a little bit. Okay. Gonna have to replace this line just a touch, but that's no problem. Worth it. Oh, he's beautiful. Oh, what a precious creature. With a twirly mustache. And 1,000 teeth. All right. That is our flat color for our Aboleth friend, and that's our stream for today. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Goodbye for now. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Hope you have a great day.